an intense minute. It's an intense minute of photographs.
It's a good intense, but it's intense nonetheless, you know. And it's so funny because your mind leaves the building and then it comes back again and then it goes out and comes back, you know.
Well, how does that minute compare to the 9 minutes in which there was a standing ovation for you and the rest of the cast of Emilia Perez, Jacques Audiard? I mean, what was going through your mind? What made that so emotional for you as you heard that?
I don't know what I was thinking, but I know that I was feeling really overwhelmed for all the right reasons. Obviously, this is. We hope that when we put so much of our time and effort into a project, we only hope that it's well received, or that at least it's not hated, you know? And so this overexceeded my expectations. The reception was amazing. We knew we were swimming upstream. I mean, imagine every cast member getting the script or getting a synopsis. It's a Jacques Audiard movie. It's his next movie. He wants to see you. It's about a narc. It's an opera, by the way. It's a musical. It's about a narc who needs to transition into a woman, and you're going to play the lawyer that helps him do that. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? Oh, and it's in Spanish. I'm like, oh, of course. And we're going to shoot this in Mexico. Absolutely. Like, you're like, what else? You know, it was crazy. So from that to be here and for everybody to be moved like I was moved by the story and everybody's performances, and Jacques, I was moved by being directed by him. It's out-of-body experience.
How did what you saw on the screen compare to your experience making the movie? Because it's my understanding that was the first time you were finally seeing the finished product.
All of us. The whole cast. I don't know if Jacques did that on purpose because he really wanted to just get like a natural, real response from us simultaneously with everybody, or it was impossible. I mean, we're all living in different countries and we're all coming from at different times, you know, arriving in Cannes, but it was special. It was definitely very special.
Was there a moment where you stopped seeing yourself as Rita and you know, how sometimes that transcends?
No. As an artist, I'm never satisfied. I'm really, really hard on myself. So I'm watching it with such a critical eye, which is why I like to watch things first before anybody so that I can go through my crazies by myself in privacy. And then I'm ready in the red carpet. But this was different. It compelled me to be present. It compelled me to continuously get out of my head. The story was so moving. So every time I was watching Carla, or I was watching Selena, or Edgar, or Adriana, and listening to the songs, and I forgot. But I was in it. So I was really happy. I was happy with many moments about things that I did. And it's been a while. It's been a while since I've been sort of like easy on myself. And so that even that was a special occasion for me because I've been wanting to just enjoy something and not be so like rigid, you know, internally. Because God knows if you guys are ever in my head, it's like, get out.
Well, I'm glad you were easy on yourself because truly it is remarkable. I mean, we've seen you, and truly since Center Stage, we've seen just the way that you are such a talented physical performer, but even this film asked you to stretch even further beyond that. I mean, it is a full-blown musical, and some of these numbers are quite elaborate between the singing and the dancing, the choreography. What was it like to perform all of these numbers, and what do you remember about getting into all of it?
Well, I want to touch on what you said. It's a musical. Jacques was adamant about our transitions into sort of you know, those musical pieces or those songs or those choreographies to be seamless. He did not want to do a musical. He wanted an opera, and he got it because. I never, after a while, yes, I learned everything, but once we put it all together, it just felt like I was Rita, and trying to say something. So in my mind, obviously I was having all these separations, like my body was separated from what I was thinking, and I just felt like I was just basically manifesting Rita's inner thoughts. And if only all these people in this audience can really know how I truly feel about you. You know, so I was really into this, I was really into the words of what this song was saying, because it was very characteristic of how Rita thinks.
I think that very much comes through in these numbers, because as in my experience, of course, specifically as a woman of color, there's a lot of times where I am asked to and do have to say or do or circumvent around certain things in the right way. And then my thoughts about it may be different in my actuality. And that was something that was so striking about Rita and how she navigates through the world. What did you make of her, that characterization, and what she gets to portray of her inner life through this story?
She's, I feel like when you meet her, she's desperate. She's desperately lonely. She's desperately hungry to grow. She's underappreciated, overlooked, underpaid, and very much invisible in a country where it's not her natural country. She wasn't born there, and now Latin America can be quite hard than all the Occidental sort of parts of the world when it comes to immigration and when it comes to people darker, because they're all of color, but we're all Latinos are like that, but there's a little bit of colonization, the colonized mentality that we still have maybe 500 years more to kind of like break out of, right? And that's a very complex conversation. So to be able to play someone like Rita in my native tongue, because Spanish is my first language, and as an Afro-Latina, I really wanted, and having the free agency that Jack gave me to sort of like just put her together, get her in Mexico. Because I want you for the part. You don't think you're Mexican. For me, I would believe it because it's a melting pot of so many cultures anyway. But just write your backstory and just, you know, and sometimes he'll be like, that's too much, that's too much. Just keep it for yourself. It's okay. Like, it's not gonna make it into the film. I'm just gonna, and I would tell him, I'm gonna write it anyway. I'm like, her mother is this, and her dad, because I live always in the backstory of my characters, and so do many of the actors. So it was just delicious to sort of like surrender to that desperation of when you know you have so much of you that you want to share, and yet you are being kept from yourself and from your environment over reasons that you cannot control, nor do you want to change. It's just the way the world is. So living in that discomfort of Rita was interesting. It was awful as well, because that means that I have to surrender to sort of like the reality of like what so many people go through as being transplant and illegal aliens or immigrants and things like that. But also she was very smart, and there were these misconceptions that she had of what power is. You know, because her examples and her role models are her boss who exploits her day after day. So in her mind is like, if I have the power that he has, that these men have, then nobody will touch me. People will see me. I'll be pretty. I'll be able to buy a Saint Laurent purse, you know. But you know, obviously throughout the course of the story, it comes with a price. Everybody in the end pays the price for that Faustian sort of choice that they all made. You know?
I wanted to ask you about, in filling out that backstory, getting the opportunity to, you know, to play this role in your native tongue, to make sure that she was Dominican. You know, what does that mean to you to have that, you know, freedom and that you know, personal representation as well?
When I realized that I have to continuously like practice my Spanish. Because like, you know, when you have to perform it, I'm kind of like, oh crap, like Carla speaks Castilian, like española, and I couldn't hold up to her beat, to her cadence, because I'm very gringa in so many ways. But it just, what was your question again? I'm sorry, guys.
Getting to play a character who's explicitly Dominican. I mean, what did that mean to you?
But here's the thing.
Sure.
Rita was Mexican.
Yes.
Because leaving as an early child, she acclimated into this environment. So very much like Rita thought like a Mexican. She navigated her life as a child that was raised in this culture, and and she made her decisions according to that, but never lost sight of where she was. But I don't think that her being Dominican or her being Mexican ever was the most important thing. Sure. For her, it was that she was a lawyer and she was just tired of being poor and being powerless, you know?
I mean more for you than for her.
Sorry. Okay, let me put it down here.
Vita's gonna sit for a minute.
Yeah, for me, it was very liberating. It was very liberating. I consume art in Spanish, from the music to all mediums of art I consume in my native tongue, and it's quite beautiful. Our culture and our art in all mediums, it's really rich, and we have very talented people, from writers to painters to singers to whatever, athletes. I mean, come on. So I wanted to branch out, and in my personal life, I'm very grateful for the journey that I've had, the opportunities that I've been given at a very early age, like a little girl from Queens, New York, to be able to be in a James Cameron movie, and for that to catapult me into a full-blown sort of career that continues to educate me. I mean, I can only be so lucky. Had I planned this, it would have never happened. You know, it just happened, and I took every opportunity. I opened every door that felt unlocked to me. Just walked in, you know? But then here I am, 10 years later, reaping the benefits over and over again of films that were so successful that became, franchises, and it's time consuming. So it's not that I don't appreciate it, it's just that I still want to grow as an artist. There's still so much in me that I want to do. And then also I'm a middle-aged woman, I'm 45. So we immediately start ticking this clock that sometimes society doesn't even do that for ourselves, because we are incredible self-sabotagers.
Sure.
So immediately there's this anxiety of oh my God, my time is up. But then it's what would you want to do? Yeah. It's I can't stop dreaming. What I want, and I get really emotional, is I just want to continue making art, because if I don't know what else to do, So obviously Jack was a dream. He happened. My agents are here. They heard me multiple conversations, what do you want to do? I'm I want to work in Spanish. I want to do things. I want to do that. I want to work with people like this. Did you see this movie? So all of a sudden this opportunity comes to CAA, and they're oh crap, I know somebody that could be perfect for the part. So this whole sort of situation took place before I even met Jacques via Zoom. And it's because I've been manifesting this. You have to say it out loud, and you have to continue wanting things, and I forgot what it was like to want things. I was just sort of on this autopilot. It's not like I was phoning it in, but I was a part of big projects and feeling just a little overlooked, a little too much, and then you start to feel very, I feel like I plateaued, and I was feeling sad, but not doing anything about it. So I thought, opportunities come. I do have a relationship with a man who's an artist who literally is willing to just, pick up and go wherever I need to go, because wherever I go, my children come with me. Y'all know if you guys are mothers. And he has no problem with that. So he's able to do that, because as an artist, he can work from everywhere. And I'm able then to not lose that momentum that may sometimes come up again, and I'm really proud of it. What is unbelievable is just the reception of Emilia Perez. I was not, guys, I saw the synopsis, and I was like...
I did too, I had no idea what I was
watching. When the girls showed it to me, I was okay, really? Y'all, is Jack crazy? I know he's crazy, but he's definitely crazy. So all of a sudden from that to here in the festival, and you guys receiving it, and people being deeply moved, I'm speechless. I just don't know what to say, because I love art so much, and when cinema is that fucking special and that fresh, it just moves you, And I'm not being a narcissist. Trust me, when I'm not making art, I'm consuming it. Yeah. I curate it in my life. That's what we do. And Jacques is an artist that I consume a great deal,
Well, I know that the way you characterize it is it's feeling as if you'd plateaued. I do, though, wonder if there's an element of that that's outside of yourself as well.
You mean like perimenopause? Absolutely.
That's not the word I was going. It was actually typecasting. I did wonder if, Hollywood and the things that they were suggesting for you, every 10 scripts that your team would get, 7 of them are a big franchise, and exactly.
Yeah.
So, how have you found ways of navigating, and I know part of that is through producing, I imagine. How have you found ways of navigating against that kind of trend toward typecasting?
For me personally,
Yes.
I lean into my team. I can't. I would love to say that I'm a one-woman shop. I'm not. Like sometimes I can get in my own way, and then I have people that you trust, and you make a pact, and you sort of go, you're gonna tell me the truth. I'm a big girl. I'm wearing my big girl pants, so you can just like give it to me because I will take it. So like for instance, when Lioness came, I was like self-sabotage. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Taylor is a client at LBI, which is the management group that represents me. Rick Yorn, Amy Cava, and Rick is like, you're doing it. And I'm like, no, but I can't, it's TV. He's like, you're doing it. Like, you have to follow good material wherever good material is. This time, it's in a series. And it's like, it's Taylor. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, fine, but it's my fear, because I know that he has big monologues, with his characters. I'm dyslexic, Spanish is my first language. We barely speak English anymore. Then it's all my insecurities, but all the time it's like, do I love Taylor Sheridan's material? Absolutely. I saw Sicario. Like, I love his, Hell or High Water. Like, I love his work. So I couldn't pass on that opportunity. Again, when my agents were like, Emilia Perez. But I don't know, I'm not Mexican. Who cares? Find a way to make it work, but just meet him. I was like, oh, absolutely. And then I meet him via Zoom, and there was just chemistry too between his personality and mine. And I just felt like, this is what I've been wanting. I've been wanting to work outside of the machine. I've been wanting to work in markets where just like art is just alive and growing, and it can go in this direction. I've been yearning for that, so I got it.
And you definitely got it. It's remarkable. But I want to take a quick moment to acknowledge Carla.
Por favor.
This feels like such a breakout for her. What is it like to experience this alongside her? I mean, listen, I know it's been like 2 days, but what has it been like to experience that, knowing that you've had similar moments in your career as well?
Carla's crazy, guys. Working with Carla was a trip because Carla was 3 people, and she went all in, and Carla was living with these 2 characters, Manitas del Monte and Emilia, for 2 years because we had to push the film, 7 or 8 months, so Carla's a devoted artist to her craft. So when I met her, she was already full on, like half in, half out, and would jump into all these hats. It was a bit neurotic, but it was all working because Rita needed that. Yeah. Because Rita was sort of like, in my mind, I was like, oh, she's the Jiminy Cricket to this Pinocchio. Yeah. That's it. It's like, if Pinocchio wants to be a real boy, like Carla, Manitas wanted to be a real woman, because she is. She's a woman. But then you have this Jiminy Cricket that sometimes is your ally, and other times is your sort of like your conscience kind of going, no, this is too dangerous. So we used it all. To be here today, knowing everything that she has gone through in her life to get here, and then for life to also give her this gift as an artist also, because aside everything else that Carla is and what Carla has gone through, Carla's also a devoted actor who is 52, who was also having these second guesses of like, I'm all dried out, the big roles are never gonna come, these dreams don't exist, and it did for her. So to see this star being born before all of our eyes is very emotional. She's a pain in the ass, though. Shooting with her was, women, why are we so wonderfully complex? But it was worth it, because it all went into the work.
Looking back, what would you say was the breakout moment for you? Like, when did you feel like you'd arrived, if you will?
Avatar. It was definitely Avatar. I went from, just being in small and big productions, but in a very, very small way, to being, this princess from this foreign planet and it reached the whole world. And I would travel, across the world. I was being photographed by people. I was being able to get meetings with producers and directors that I had never known. I've never thought I could ever meet. I was being offered roles because I always thought that I needed to fight for them and work really hard for them. And at the end of the day, those are the ones that I've always enjoyed the most.
Sure.
I miss that. You can get bags all you want, but the one bag you buy yourself is the one bag you wear until it's dangling off of its last chain. So that is a representation of who you are also in your craft. When you work really hard for something, you don't take any minute for granted. And at least I'm that kind of individual. Jacques' movie, working for that, auditioning for that, and getting that part reignited a fire in me that I was the one putting out myself.
I feel like that's an important message for people to hear too, is that you can, as I introduced, the highest grossing film actress of all time.
Jesus Christ.
I know. And still have self-doubt. We all have self-doubt.
Are you kidding me? I don't. And one thing I've realized is that even though I've been a very extroverted person, that's a character. I'm extremely shy. I am in the closet of my mind more than I am interacting with the world, and it is dark in there, and it is so fucking isolating. So I'm tired of that. If I for the second half of my life, I want to go back to that fearlessness that we have when we were children. When you first start somewhere and people kind of go, hey, you want to do this? Sure. You want to go there? Okay. And that you're not afraid. You're not afraid about what others may think. You're like, I have nothing. So what do I have to lose? Let me just take this leap. I felt reignited with Emilia Perez.
Well, you mentioned your husband and your kids who are kind of ready to pick up and go anywhere.
Oh, those Italians.
Yeah. Filmmaking has really become a family business.
Yes.
For all of you. Your sisters, of course, also you have Cinestar Pictures. Tell me a little bit about that experience of getting to share this thing that you love so much in so many different ways with all of those people that you love so much.
Well, I'm not the only one that shares. They're artists in their own right. My husband has always wanted to be a director since he was a little boy, and he's a multidisciplinary artist. He doesn't understand the meaning of it because Marco understands maybe half of what I say, but it's okay. It's how we work. Marco's an exceptional artist and a curator of art, and he's like such a snob of art as well. Earlier this year, he directed and produced. We both produced a short that made it into the Venice Biennale, and it was a part of the Vatican, the pavilion of the Vatican, and so that was me taking a leap into his field.
Yeah.
And Marco has been taking giant leaps into mine because it's what we're naturally interested in. So it is only fair to add that kind of support. If I'm an actor and he's a director, Marco's gonna give me parts. Yeah. That's like, it's gonna keep me working forever. If I'm an actor and an avid reader of good content, I wanna continue working with him. The same way that I wanna work with my sisters. I feel like I've been working with my sisters since we were born.
Of course.
We're like ride or die, rough riders, but also very respectful of each other's taste. The fortune that we have is that we have a common interest in the fact that we love cinema and storytelling. That's natural and innate in all of us, as subjectively. Making money out of it just felt like the next thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, why work with others when you're right here? We're aligned. This is what you want to do. Let's make it work. And we vacillate between the manifesto that we have of giving visibility to women and female stories that are unapologetically women. Mm-hmm. We're not here to sanctify women. We're here to just put a lens on the complexities that make us who we are. And so far up until now, everything that we've done, we're very much aligned with that.
Yes.
And that's really great. They're producing Lioness with me as well. Like I was able to bring them on board, and Taylor's really supportive of that. So that also gives us an ability to stay together as a traveling circus, guys. And what could you ask for? What else? What else could I ask for? Marco's my challenger. Marco's the one that every time I kind of go, I think I'm good. Marco's like, no, let's do more. So he keeps me young, and I think I keep him young too.
What was it like to watch his process, particularly on The Absence of Eden as well? Being, you're one of the stars of this film, and he's the director. What was it like to watch what his process was like as a filmmaker?
He's incredible. Marco is so prepared. Everything from writing a story to putting it together, raising the money. Marco wears all the hats, and he gives 110% to every hat. My job moving forward for his next project is to make sure that Marco leaves a little bit more of his energy, so that when he finally gets to the playground that he's been designing, which is to be on set, he has the energy, he has the presence, and just the joy, so that he won't be so boggled down with the work. He's exceptional at what he does, and I truly respect him and I look up to him. Being directed by him is incredible because he knows exactly what he wants. Yes, we bicker, but we'll go away from set, to talk about it, because Marco can be questioned by the crew, or where do you put this light, what do you want to do? The moment I go, do I wear my jacket on the scene or I take it off? And he's like, and I'm like, dude, I'm asking you a question as an actor. So then we do have to and then he'll be like, Z, I want you to sit there. Why? So we're still a marriage, in how we make art, but also we're not going to apologize for it. We're not robots. No. So if you happen to witness Marco and I in a full-blown, passionate discussion about why he believes this movie was worthy of an Oscar and I don't, or vice versa, like I said, he is the snob. I like everything. Marco, so be it. But we're fine. You know what I mean? My hope is that we continue. We always talk about Frances McDormand and her husband.
Yes.
And if they've made it work, and they challenge each other, and they keep learning, and they keep stimulating each other in so many different ways, that's what we want.
Well, listen, art is emotional, and if
Yes.
it wasn't, then what would we all be doing here? And it's, of course, not just, you're not just working with your family. There are shows like From Scratch, for
Yes.
example, bringing that, amazing story, two sisters behind it as well, with Tembi and Attica Locke. But that series surged to #1 on Netflix, and
Yeah.
people really found it and found themselves in it. What is it like to also be able to bring other, as you said, as part of the ethos, bring other women and women of color's stories to the screen and help them have opportunities to tell their stories too?
Oh my God, it is a responsibility, and it's one that I carry with great pride. But I don't only carry it, because I have to always, be myself and sort of, answer my own inquiries, my own wonders of life. That movie was aligned with those wonders that I still have of my life, of how I want to grow as an artist. I wanted to do a love story. I wanted to do an epic love story, and it came in the form of this wonderful book. And then the fact that Tembi and Attica were sisters, the fact that they're women of color, the fact that we were aligned with how Cicely, Mariel, and I feel that women of color should travel. They should have their eat, pray, love, and we should enjoy it when we watch them. We should want to see them in love, and we should want to see them in many other different forms of storytelling besides the ones that we usually see when people of color in. Everything about it was aligned. So church and state were working together, I feel, and it was a wonderful journey. The reception. The reception just proved to my sisters and I that if we like something, we are a part of a popular sort of community of content consumers, and we're synchronized. We want the same thing. So trusting ourselves in terms of what we like to consume personally, and then also, what we'd like to see on screen. We have to trust the process that other people are seeing that. So I can't pick a project for any other reason than how it makes my heart beat. because that's what's worked for me. That's my lottery ticket. If I start being strategic and I go, I'm going to do this because it's worth these numbers in China or whatever, I'm going to walk away from the essence of what truly makes, you know, how I curate the things that I do magical when they are, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is the taste element of it, and the love element of it, and the passion element of it, I think are a big reason why we can share those stats that we do, is because even though, yes, those franchises became big, they weren't necessarily huge to start with, and all of your work seems driven in that same way. I did want to ask you as we
It's true.
as we wrap this conversation, you know, because we are talking about representation for women in this business, in this industry, what is your hope? What is your hope that, you know, the next 20 years of your career looks like, and where we see the place for women in that, behind the scenes, in front of the camera, in that time?
I think that we're gonna keep creating stories about us, for us, and for the world forever. What we need more of, we need more female CEOs. We need more women sitting in boards, because those are the gatekeepers. We need the keys that unlock those doors. And once those women are there, don't just be happy, then feel so lucky that you're the only woman sitting at the table. Get 3 men to get up, get their seats, and put 3 women in there. And when I say that, I'm not saying that, that our growth should be despite of men. I'm just saying if we have to make room, the ideal thing is bring a chair in and bring another woman. You come in, bring another one with you. Because I think it's really important to understand that this is a business. What we do is not just art. Like, art survives because we need middle industries that propel it from point A to point B. If not, the artist is not known to be a good businessman. Look at in the art world as well. You know, we cut our own ears to bleed for our work. You need a believer that understands a shaker and a maker. Those seats have to be filled by more women. And when we're in there, make more room for other women. That's important. It's on us to do it. And for the men, the ones that are doing it right and making room for women, thank you. You're so sexy. It's so sexy when a man truly celebrates a woman. There's nothing sexier. It doesn't matter what he looks like. And for the ones that are not, please join. You know, because we're tired of fighting. Let's just grow together, you know?
Let's just grow together.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for occupying this chair, but for making so much more room for women to follow and continue to grow with you. And as you grow yourself, I'm so happy to hear this fire has been reignited in you, and we can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations,
Thank you so
Zoe.
much.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you.